But since the Mahabharata is a story, I suppose you'd like to hear a story. Okay. I'm going to share one. I'm actually going to, when I get to it, I'm going to read it from the book. It's a very short one. And it's one that I suspect those of you who know the Mahabharata don't know this story. So it'll be a nice little adventure for you. This happens after Yudhishthira, who is the eldest of the 5 Pandava brothers, gambled away their kingdom. Okay, in a crooked dice game, he lost their kingdom. He had this little issue with gambling. And that meant that he and his 4 brothers and their common wife, which is a whole nother story, Draupadi, had to not only leave their kingdom, but go into exile in the forest. And they had to exchange their royal garments for deerskins, and they had to live in strict poverty for 12 years in the forest. Now, you'd think that their guru, who by this time in the story was Krishna, their cousin, was also their cousin, would have come to help them. In fact, he would have prevented the dice game in the first place. However, Krishna was born to cause the war. It was his mission to cleanse the earth of the evil that had overtaken it. Allegorically, the evil Asuras, the demons, had been finally defeated by the gods, the Devas, and had been kicked out of heaven and had to live in exile in the nether regions, which they didn't like very much. So they decided, if we can't rule in heaven, we're going to rule on earth. And they incarnated among the royal families of the earth and began to move in, take over. And this caused no end of distress for the people. Now, this is all symbolic. For those of you who know the yugas, this is symbolic of the yuga cycle. That the whole Mahabharata starts in a time of great, great peace and tranquility on earth and in heaven, because the Devas had kicked out the Asuras. But the Asuras decided, again, if we're not going to be in heaven, we're going to rule on earth. So they incarnated on earth, began to take over, and their evil began to spread among humanity. It's the yugas. It's just an allegorical expression of the cycles of the yugas. So the earth, in her despair over the evil that had taken over the earth, went to Brahma, the creator, and prayed and asked for deliverance from this. And Brahma sent the Devas, said, go to earth, incarnate among human beings, and do battle with the Asuras. And before incarnating, the Devas went to Lord Vishnu, Narayana, and asked him, will you not incarnate also to help us in this task? And Narayana said, so be it. And he took the form of a humble cowherd named Krishna. So back to later in the story, where the game has been lost, the game of dice has been lost, the Pandavas are in exile in the forest. Draupadi is not happy. I mean, she was a queen. She didn't go for deerskins. It just wasn't her style. After a time, Krishna and a large contingent of his kinfolk came to visit the Pandavas. He'd only recently learned of the dice game, for he had been fully occupied defending Dwarka, his kingdom, from attack. He was outraged about the dice game and said fiercely, "The earth shall drink the blood of Duryodhana and Karna, of Dushasana and Shakuni," the main bad guys, "and we will install Yudhishthira on the throne. The wicked deserve to die." He began to talk about the coming war, his eyes ablaze with a fiery light. He became so passionate that he seemed bent on incinerating the entire universe. Arjuna hastened to soothe him by telling stories of Krishna's miraculous achievements in former lives. After a time, Krishna became his usual calm self once again, and he said with great affection, "You are mine, Arjuna, and I am yours. We are the ancient rishis, Nara and Narayana, born now for a special purpose. You are from me, and I am from you. No one can tell the difference between us." Hearing those sweet words, everyone sat in a powerful silence for a time. Draupadi broke the silence by launching into a passionate account of all her miseries. She began to weep over the Pandavas' failure to protect her from humiliation in the dice game when her clothing was almost taken off her. She said, "Fie on Arjuna's prowess! Fie on Bhima's strength! Why do those great heroes even now not kill the Kauravas? Why do they not care what has happened to me? Truly, I have no husbands." Krishna replied, "Weep not, lady. The heavens might fall, the earth might split in two, the oceans might dry up, but I promise that you shall once more be the Queen of Kings." There's so much in that short selection. The deep affection between Arjuna and Krishna that goes back so many incarnations. The outrage of God over evil overtaking us. Not outrage at us, but outrage that it would happen, which is a little ironic since God designed this whole play in the first place. But this is one of those things we need to put on the table. The Draupadi was born full-grown from a sacrificial fire. No surprise that she would be a bit of a fiery person. And then closing that little episode, Arjuna saying, or Krishna saying, "Don't worry, I've got this." And this is what God is saying to us. Don't worry, I've got this. The question is, are you going to cooperate with it? Or will I have to drag you kicking and screaming back to heaven? And of course, none of us want to be dragged anywhere, kicking and screaming.